just finished
Is
the
there
movie.
stuff to collect? Really?
Yeah, Welcome to the F Movie Podcast. Joking. You bring it in.
Look at yourself.
Yeah, look it on camera. Okay.
you gotta look on camera.
We're your
and
hosts
see where
today.
you're at.
This is Mason,
Like a lot of
Price, Dylan, Nathan, and surprise guest Jill. She just sat down and watched the whole movie with us.
Yeah, just because I'm guest starring, I did not pick this movie.
This is not to be considered
But she
a
was
guest
in
movie.
for it. She could have walked away at any point.
But then I wouldn't know the extent of the movie.
That's fair.
Do you now?
No.
That's assuming that you know now. I don't...
What movie
Yeah.
are we even talking
Well,
about
hold on.
here?
Before we even get to the movie, we should probably clarify for our chronological watchers here.
Mhm.
How the hell are we talking about The Novice? I didn't see a spin for this. What's going on? Well,
They will the end of Annihilation.
at the end of Annihilation, it'll make more sense, which should come out before this, but you never know. So we spun, and Nathan or Mason just got a whole free-ass movie to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, Mason just threw a movie at us and we watched it.
Yeah, that's about
And
it.
Mason, what movie was that?
It's a new movie called The Novice.
Mhm.
It's an IFC type movie, so you kind of just know what you're in for. Low budget. Maybe you don't know what you're in for.
Yeah.
The summary of this movie, just to sum it up real fast, this girl who's a perfectionist just sets her sights on something and strives to be the best at it, no matter if she's good at it to begin with or not. Whether it be physics, whether it be sports, relationships, friendships, yada yada, and it drives her insane.
Honestly, I don't even really see her as much of a perfectionist as I think that she wants a challenge and she wants a goal and she wants a challenge. So I mean,
But she also wants to be the best.
Mhm.
Yes.
She wants to be the best in some way with it.
Mm-hmm.
Keep this girl away from video games. Am I right? Like, if she plays Call of Duty, she'll be toxic. But so, are we just leaping? I always forget what's after.
It's just summary. So summary now we just discussed.
So I wanna start with the point you mentioned in summary is that it drives her crazy. She's crazy from scene 1 onwards in this movie.
This isn't a descent into madness.
This
This
is-
is just like living in the head of a madman.
Yeah.
For a while. Mad woman.
Yeah, but yeah, no, it is. It starts off doing that shaky, grainy tone filter where it's like you're looking at her, but it looks like it's just like she's dissociating out of her mind, or she's just somewhere, and they keep a lot of that filter tone throughout the whole movie. And instead of it just being a descent, it, as Nathan mentions, it's a documentary of madness, if anything, and it's, yeah.
Well, okay, so the movie starts out, yes, just like that, but you do eventually find out that through grade school, she wanted to be valedictorian. She picked one person to try to be better at, just because he said some cross thing to her, and he was smarter outright than her, and she literally just set her sights on him, as a hunter would his prey. You know, it's silly, she's like that, and she is insane from start to finish, yes, but it at least gives you some, like, she's been like this all along. So, I don't know, it's just...
And the weird thing is I was ready to, up until that what Mason just said is a conversation that happens about 2/3 through the movie when you kind of understand a little bit more about the character. Before that, I was kind of thinking that she was like the kid that was always told that like she's the best or whatever, and she's the best. And then she gets into college and she's like a little fish in a big pond and realizes like she's really not the best. That's kind of what I was hoping for with this movie, because I can understand that a little bit more. That makes a bit more sense to me. But by the end, you just realize that she's just like a mentally incapable person.
Unstable.
Like she's just really unstable, and that she's I wouldn't say very, but like she is a niche case rather than what the scenario I was describing could be applied pretty widely. I was just hoping more for my scenario to happen, because you can kind of see where like there's the point of like you're the smartest person until you're not, and then it's how you handle that just kind of decides where you want to go. And I thought she was going to be going on the other side, like I will just try to be the smartest or try to be the best at whatever, but it just seems like she's just crazy.
Yeah, which in this movie, like, she starts with just like being in her head, you know, banging her head against the wall in the porta potty, blah blah blah, but then she starts hitting herself, right? And then you're like, okay, well, whatever. And she starts, you know, cutting herself, and she starts just obsessing and doing all this. I'm with you. It's just, I guess like you said, you can go. It's like a crossroads. You can go this way, or you can go this way. And she just drove more
Right in the crazy town.
Yeah, right into the insanity of it. So
She didn't even take, like, she just took the shortcut. She just went straight. She didn't even take, like,
Through the
She
cornfield.
wasn't going that way. She was there. She's like lobbied to be on the council. She has spent a long time in Crazy Town.
her mom calling her on that cell phone all those times probably was just trying to get her admitted.
Mhm.
Yeah.
She just kept like deleting.
Get
it.
help.
Yeah.
I'm fine, Mom.
I'm fine.
I'm just,
No,
I'm
everything's
staying home
good.
for Christmas.
So Jill, why did you continue to watch this movie with us? Just curious, because you came in and you're like, I'll give this a shot, and you stayed here and watched it with us the whole time.
It was weird enough that I thought there'd be some kind of like it would go into some interesting story.
Serial
at some point.
killerness.
I did fully
Maybe?
expect her to murder a bunch of people.
Okay.
I was just waiting for like, okay, where's
Yeah.
the murder? Because clearly it's going to happen.
It has to, yeah.
And then there was the scene at the pool table. I was like, okay, maybe it is going to go an interesting route where it's like you got the two kids in honors class, like the naturally smart and the ones that work hard. Maybe it's a story about working hard. It's not. It's just it's a story that just gets weirder and weirder and weirder and weirder.
And ends in staph
And then
infection.
there's like there's not that moment at the end. It was like, oh, it all comes together to this interesting thing.
That's what I was waiting for the whole time. The crescendo is her quitting the rowing team.
Mhm.
So
I want to ask, though, do you think that, like, she writes down, like, her, like, time.
Mhm.
Do you think that it beats 14 minutes?
it's
Okay.
impossible.
Okay, so
No.
Price did
Shouldn't
bring it
be,
up.
'cause she
Not
fell.
with her falling out.
She
Yeah,
fell.
She did fall.
And then
And it was
possibly
also
got struck by lightning
raining.
at the end? Like,
But the thing was,
But she was happy at the end.
she did want to beat the 14, yes, but she also wanted to beat all those bitches. She
Mhm.
hated all 4 of those people.
But you've also been led to believe that she's not the best. Like
well, she was in that race, but
this-
because of lightning.
Well, no, I'm talking about the seat race too. Leads
Oh,
you to
yeah.
believe that she's really not the best.
Yeah.
yeah.
So I
Well, the
mean,
seat
there's
race leads you to believe that they made her lose.
Right.
See, but I interpreted that as like she's looking for someone to blame, kind of like when she took the test, and she's like, "There's no way I got all those right. Like I want the answers. Like I want to see the answers."
I think there's something ambiguous there. Like, there's a little
But
bit of unreliable narrator there.
Yeah, and I think it probably is that they worked against her just for the fact that the other girl said something about like nobody respects her.
Yeah.
Too,
And did you see the fist bump?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess I didn't catch that.
Yeah, so as soon as the Brill girl
Or Brill, yeah.
Brill got into the boat, that girl behind her, she had a weird name. They fist bumped.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean, it was
as
clear
soon-
from like the text that you got to see, like,
For sure.
oh, I have another ride. She's making friends.
She is
with the
exactly.
B1
She's
team.
building that bridge for sure.
So, which is an important part of being on a team.
Yeah.
especially one that's like rowing, where it seems
Well-
integral.
And with that too, like if anything, Alex's character was just late to the game. Like I can't remember the other girl's first name, Jamie. I think Jamie. She literally just saw an opening and said, "You know what? If I can't get there working hard, then I can at least build a bridge and make friends, and I'll
Right.
get there that way. It's just business." But yeah, I don't know. Do you guys think that the ending was fairly realistic versus some other route that they could have taken?
What do you mean by realistic?
She didn't want to be on that rowing team. Or as soon as she knew that she had no respect and that she wasn't going to get anywhere with them and all this crap, she was probably eventually just going to either die or quit. So she just quits. Now, I think that the end of the movie, personally, is realistic, where she does kind of sort of just give up. She sort of does just accomplish her own goal, and then she's done. She doesn't want to see any of these bitches ever again.
Yeah.
She never wants to see them again.
I don't. I honestly think from what we've seen that she would go completely manic.
Yeah,
Because
she
she's
would
like,
kill somebody.
because she's like, I want to be better than this girl that's been bothering me for so long, but I can't because the team hates me. But I really want to be better than this girl, but I can't. And then I just think she would go. I think she would go crazy, even more crazy.
Yeah.
It
Everybody
definitely
else?
makes you feel that way about her.
Mm-hmm.
If there's anyone remotely close to being like her in real life, I hope that they can just let it go.
Sort out the...
Bro,
I hope
Any
they
real
can just
person
relax.
needs to go get
Relax.
help.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think therapists are a bunch of crocs.
Yeah, speaking...
Just get struck by lightning instead.
Yeah, honestly.
There you go. There's the therapist.
Electrotherapy, is that a thing?
We still
Yeah, so you're a fan of shock therapy?
They still use that.
They do.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's actually pretty effective in bipolar disorder in certain studies and cases, but we're not here for
Sign
that.
me up. Shock me, daddy.
Yeah.
Did you guys think that the ending could have gone a different way? Shoot it.
I don't know what else I would have expected the ending to be. That's why I was around. I was like, how is
Yeah, what
how
can
is this
happen?
going
Off the
to end?
rails
I
into
just-
9/11.
I figured she was just gonna die.
Yeah.
That's what I figured was gonna happen. Is she was dead.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the lightning was like they've been talking the whole movie about how like don't do it while lightning's going, and then
Yes,
like
they
they build it up so much, and then there's even the lightning flash, and then like the screen goes black. Like that's the ending I want. Like she didn't go crazy, whatever, but like this is what I feel like it should end.
Natural selection just took its
And then she
course.
shows up on the boat dock. Like, well, dang it!
It would have been very is it Greek? What am I thinking of? Like Hercules, that lore, like Hades.
You gotta say more words.
You know what I'm talking about. So like with all of the old, I think it's like Greek gods or something like that. Hercules, Hades, that crew. Is that Greek? Is that
Oh,
Greece?
you're just asking is Hades
Yeah, is
Greek?
that the
Yeah.
culture?
Yeah, Hades
yeah,
is
yeah.
Greek.
Okay, thank you. So it's kind of
Oh, tragedy.
yeah, it'd be like a Greek tragedy in that way, where it
Okay.
kind of builds into that.
Yeah.
Words are hard for me recently, so it just builds into that. Like, all right, this is almost like divine intervention crossing into the point where it's just like, okay, yeah, you're gonna be the
Yeah,
your
I think
own
this
destruction.
movie would work better as a tragedy where she does just die.
Right.
Just
Like
ends
she's
up
her
dying.
own end.
Mm-hmm.
Due to lightning or due to staph infection?
Both.
Because let's be real, she ends up in the hospital because of some
Can
stupid
I ask what was
infection.
with her, like the hand that had like just the circle?
And
She
the
was
vein
just
part.
vein-
rubbing it raw, I guess.
Yeah.
from-
Okay, because it looked like I thought
Well,
they were trying to
the-
make like a
the veins,
Jesus
I think,
thing.
are
Yeah,
infected.
yeah, the
Yeah.
veins.
Okay.
But
But why was that just one hand though? Why like you use both hands to do
Yeah.
it? Wouldn't
you might favor
Well,
one.
Yeah, maybe.
I
you're
mean,
right.
Yeah.
one might just
Maybe.
one got infected and the other one didn't.
But like I'm talking about just the wound
Was
itself.
it
maybe the
not on
non-dominance.
I think it was on both.
I
It
think
feels
on-
yeah, because she had
on
bandages
one.
on both,
You only
but we
saw
only
it on
see the one
but
hand.
You only see
over.
one hand.
Listen,
Period.
makeup design
Yeah,
said
it's
they were
all
like,
good,
we're not going to do
whatever.
both all day, guys. Like, we're only going to give them one. So I have one big thought, which already kind of gives away one of my answers for a later segment.
Yeah, what's up?
This feels like it could have been a short film, and then they said, let's tack on an extra 45 to 50 minutes to it.
Okay.
I don't know if I would go that far.
Like, not like a super short film. Like, I'm talking like a 30-minute. Like, you know, like something that with like a little
Well,
meat to it.
I think it has enough there. Like it needs the time to really get you into it, but like to me, a short film too is like I don't know, something bite-sized that you can chew on.
Right.
The problem is that I want nothing to do with
You
this.
wouldn't want to do this
See,
for 10 minutes.
The whole time during the movie, we've watched Raw before, and Nathan the whole time was like, "This is giving me Raw vibes."
Mhm.
She's in the bathroom by herself. She's going crazy. Something's gonna happen.
There's
And the whole time,
blood.
Nathan's like that person in horror movie, like, "Nope, don't go in there. Don't do that," because it was just like, "Oh."
But when
God.
Nicolas Cage was in the bathroom and he was,
Oh.
"Ah!
that is some
that is
high
cinema.
quality
Oh
cinematography.
yeah.
baby.
God.
There was some funny
Same moods.
similarities to Raw in this movie, like you
Oh,
said
yeah.
early on.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I didn't even notice it until you said it.
It
but-
felt like this was the movie the director shot before he went on to go make Raw.
and
it
said I
was
could
like-
do it more.
Right, he's
Yeah.
like, I can go crazier
It's like, oh,
and
I can
French.
make people so much more uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I just feel like as much as they, like, because if you tell me, all right, what was this movie about? Like, tell me, like, Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, and I'm like, all right, Act 1, she starts rowing. Act 2, she rows harder. Act 3, she rows hardest.
She's
Like,
rolling through the
Well,
ground.
Act 2, there was this, like, levity during the break where the music, like, what was happening was just being shot different, and the music was happier, and
Right.
it wasn't this, like, all up in tight on her in these dark dungeons.
Yeah.
It was, like, open. And
There
she
was a
like,
relationship.
It's
she
a
was
subtle
building a
positive
Yeah, there was a
tone
friendship
shift.
Like, she was
involved.
just rowing by herself, all nice and free, but then once there were other people around she was competing with, it was back in it
Yeah.
immediately. And I think that's what they were trying to do.
I do appreciate that that's subtle, because it's one of those things where I think that, again, with, like, more indie films and stuff like that, they tend to be more artsy in their technicals.
Mhm.
So you're gonna sit there and not have open, obvious, transparent storytelling. It's more so it was told exactly kind of how you described it, exactly like in the technicals, like the tone shift, the music switches, all that, and it's not. And sure, she's like kind of cutting up with her coach, not really having fun or like even
Well-
really creating a relationship, but her perspective probably feels more positive, and that seems that.
I think it was to highlight her competitiveness, because the moment she
Yeah.
sat back down and had somebody that she's competing with right beside her, the whole way the movie was being filmed
Yep.
changed again
Right.
back to what it was, and that's cool. It's kind of sucks because I wanted it to just get the hell away from what was
Mhm.
happening in the first part of that movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're just back into it.
And that was my favorite part of the movie. Actually, was after like the winter vacation or whatever, and like you said, when everybody else came back, I really liked that montage after that because like it just showed like how crazy and hectic her life was with like all the studying, the rowing, her hands. Like I was like, what? Like she just got given a jar of something by her coach. Like what the heck is that? And it just keeps on rolling, and it really puts you in her headspace at that time.
That and then all the dialogue. Like, the dialogue in the last third of this movie is better than anything else. You know, you get, like, the
Oh, I can
frolicky
actually
stuff.
hear the dialogue on the tail.
Well,
She
it's
was
because it's
actually
being
saying
screamed
things.
at you.
She was talking.
There
Mm-hmm.
was
Third,
turmoil
she
between the
didn't
two
really say much of
friends.
anything.
Yeah.
I didn't think she was talking in the first third either. I don't remember her talking
She was
much
saying
at
was
all.
like arms, legs, head.
Right.
That's all
That's-
she
that's
said,
it.
yeah.
That's
Arms,
it.
body, legs. Legs, body, arms.
LBA-ABL.
Which this movie also has a bunch of repetitive nature, too. Like that part especially, the arms, body, legs. That was killed at the very beginning. I mean, I thought you guys were going to scream at me just for that. Which, to be fair, I was screaming at it. And then the lightning, like you guys said, a lot of this stuff was like not symbolic, but foreshadowing. The girl with the scholarship, like all that stuff comes back into play. It seems like it's on a dime, like you can just count on it. But yeah, I think that I don't know. I think the darkness of this movie is one of its best traits. I don't think it's happy. I don't think it's upbeat. I think it's dark and dingy. You said it at the first 16 seconds of that trailer, Nathan called it was dungeon-like and dreary.
Yeah, I was just like, where the hell are
Where's
they
the sun?
running? Like,
Why are they
this isn't a normal place. This is some like
Right.
dungeon, underground, grimy. Like, what the hell?
You were just
Who does
hoping.
that?
You were just hoping for post-apocalyptic rowing at
I'm,
that point.
you know what? One thing I want to critique it, and I kind of don't, but like I'm just gonna throw it out. So, the movie's core, like the engine behind this movie, is the rowing, and in that sense, it's kind of not exactly.
It's a vehicle.
Yeah, it is. I mean, like, sure, the vehicle around it is her life, her mental health, like state, and
I think
deteriorating.
rowing is a vehicle.
See, but here's the thing. So it kind of is on screen. What shows you? It's where all the tension happens. Instead of murder, we get rowing, right? Because it's all supposed to be like portrayed through this action.
Sure.
And I don't know. I just didn't feel particularly engaged with it, and I think that's something that I kind of struggle with. Whenever I'm watching it, it feels very fatiguing by the time we're getting to the rowing aspect because it doesn't feel like I'm feeling. I don't know the best way I would describe it, and I know it's not exactly a one-for-one thing, but it's like if I were to look at it in the sense of like Warrior or any other sports movie where sport is kind of like, you know, the main like focus of like this is where we put all of the action, so to speak, into it.
Yeah.
That this one didn't feel particularly engaging. I never felt like I was like, oh fuck dude, yeah, roll to the end or anything like that.
Get
And
struck by lightning.
Right, and it's not, and I know that's intentionally like not what they're going for per se,
Well,
but
they don't have you like watching them actually doing the races,
Right.
And you like following and being like, oh, are they gonna make it? Because it's not what this is.
You saw maybe a
Exactly.
quarter of one little
Yeah, like
race.
you barely like you see
Yeah.
them like after they failed.
Right.
That's all you get to see.
Yeah.
So in that way, like I know I'm not trying to put on the expectations that it should have been more focused into the rowing and made that rowing more entertaining or more engaging. But because this movie is so much rowing, I
It's a
do
lot
feel like
of
that they'd
rowing.
put a little bit more effort into making it a little bit more engaging, though. Not necessarily full on Warrior, not full on like other sports films that I can't think of right now, but just the concept that it just felt like every time it was on, and maybe this is by design, I felt just as like tired and done with the rowing as like
As she did.
she probably should have been, right?
Yeah.
Well, and like, you know, any other movie might have had the rowing where it's like she's like checking her milestones, and,
Right.
like, you see her progress or anything.
Like there'd be a sense of like rocky progress or something here.
This
but-
movie, this character makes zero progress. No character progress in any real meaningful way. She doesn't develop in any new ways. She is who she was at the beginning of the
Yeah,
movie
she-
at
yeah.
the end.
She might develop worse.
Yeah.
See, I thought
Health
I mean, objectively,
Yeah.
the end.
Yeah.
I
Objectively,
thought at the
was-
end she made a major character decision that I didn't agree with, though. Like she
Well,
quit the team,
She did, but also I think it was
which
a
is
lot
her
of
throwing in the towel.
Yeah, a lot of the dialogue finally got to her. Like they finally sort of got through to her. It was her partner that she basically was just like, "Look, this is the same thing as high school. Get with the program. You gotta focus." It was her ex-friend that said no one respects you. It was all this stuff. It was, you know, the coaches and everything, and like like you said, it might not be realistic in that aspect because you don't think that she's going to go that route.
No.
She's not going to quit the team. She's going to end up in an insane asylum.
She's gonna eat the team.
Yeah,
She's gonna
that's
eat
what
the team,
I
not
thought.
beat the team.
It absorbed their rowing
Right.
ability.
Yes. But I do think that a lot of that final dialogue with all those people at least helps her. And that to me makes sense for the ending itself. Personally, I love the ending. I think that she didn't win. She didn't do anything spectacular. But in her head, where you're at in the entire movie, that's all she needed. And that, I don't know, to me that was the only way that she was going to win, period. Because she was smaller, didn't have the technique, could train just like she did in high school, but she's always going to be not as smart, not as fit, not as all this stuff. It doesn't matter.
You want to know something in the history of this podcast?
Hmm.
I think this is the first time that Mason has both led the discussion and talked the most.
I have to
I'm
defend
not.
the fuck out of
I'm
this
not
movie.
saying that's a bad thing at all. I'm saying like I'm
Observation.
I'm glad you finally got one.
Hey,
One that got you going.
Yeah, I really needed badgers on screen.
Yeah. Oh, to really turn
you know what
it
this
around.
movie could have really used?
Badger game.
Yeah,
Gang.
God.
Shelter.
It was using animals though. She
It
throwing
was.
against
That
crows at
crowd.
one
Those
point.
crows and the
Yeah,
crabs.
That was weird too. Very,
Yeah.
very Black Swan.
You know what? I was
Yeah.
going to say, would you agree? Whenever you mentioned Black Swan.
It's
before
very
it,
Black Swan.
Yeah, that just... Those weird cut scenes where it was all black around her and she was like in the spotlight, whether it was her pissing herself or like the people
That's my favorite
screaming
part.
at her,
Mhm.
the crows and the ravens just cawing at her. It was just all weird.
I know her pissing herself was like in the first third of the movie, so I'm like, it's only gonna get wilder
Yeah.
from here.
You
It
just,
didn't.
you just had to see what rock bottom was, or what was about to be rock bottom.
I mean, it's a fake
I
rock
mean,
bottom.
was
They
that-
found more.
Yeah, I don't.
True, it was like rock bottom, but then it was rock bottom.
That's-
later
I
on.
don't know if there was ever really a rock bottom. It's like she was just skipping along the bottom the whole time.
Yeah.
She was a bottom feeder.
Like it was just nothing but bad. I mean,
Yeah.
there was some slight moments where it
Yeah.
came up, but most of the time it stayed down in the trenches.
Yeah.
Like, what you got, Mason?
All right,
What
so
section?
this movie literally just came out, and I only have like 3 things of trivia. Like that's it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh.
Isabel Furman, which is the main character, she gained 10 pounds of muscle with her like rigorous training for this movie, which someone said at the
That's
very end.
decent
She did
trivia.
look thinner.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was just about. I know that COVID pushed this, since it's an independent film. It goes to Sundance. It goes to all these festivals and stuff like that. This was supposed to be in the festivals 2 years ago, and it was supposed to release worldwide. You know, after that, obviously, and it just released in festivals like this summer in 2021. So it's definitely behind the game. But
Are you gonna mention the trivia piece where you sat next to her dad?
so this girl, Isabel Furman, I don't know personally, but I have.
Ronald Furman
He-
or whatever.
I have eaten dinner with her father
Uh-huh.
for Isabel Furman.
Uh,
Yeah, so I've actually, you know what, Dylan, thank you for mentioning that. I have followed this girl on Instagram. I have watched basically all of her movies. She's in The Orphan. She's in a movie called Tape. She's in Masters of Sex, I think, is what it's called, that show.
that seems like a show I would have watched, but maybe
I think it was a Showtime or like a, I don't know, it's one of those.
Cinemax.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
sounds like it, doesn't it?
All right, now it's starting to sound familiar.
Yeah. Dylan's like, yes, that
It's
box is
coming
checked.
together.
Yeah. That's all the trivia I've got.
That's fair.
It's a very new movie.
I was about to say, it doesn't feel like a movie that's trying to give a lot of nods and hints or anything like that
Yeah.
either. So.
The question that I have is,
So ready.
which sex scene was better?
Oh, you did say that's what
You
you
did
were
say that.
I mean, I was trying to think of a
Struggle
better
price.
one. The only other one I could think of is what would be a better ending, but honestly, I don't
No,
think any of
this
us.
is the best.
So there's 2 sex scenes. One where she's hooking up with a guy in a fraternity, and another one, lesbian sex scene towards the end. I was laughing so hard at the fraternity guy one. I don't know how, and it also kind of fits with her character because she's like, I just want to try it. Like,
Yeah,
I just want
I
to
just
do
gotta
this. And then she was like, and her friend was like, who you never see later in the movie. I just thought
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
Oh, she gets killed.
She eats
Unless
her.
she,
Yeah.
unless
She
she's
killed
her
us for
roommate and she's the one that throws the pillow
I
in that
think
blurry
she's
screen.
the roommate.
Yeah.
I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure.
It is.
But
yeah,
They
you
they
see
went to
her.
high school together.
the fraternity one's just so funny because like you only see like the back of his head and you can tell he's just like fingering like super hard and she's like slow down
Yeah.
and then he's like all right I'm just gonna put it in then and then he goes super hard finishes and it just lays there. So definitely that one.
Yeah, I think for the levity of it, I'm gonna say the same thing. Like, the frat guy one is like, it's kind of stupid and dumb in this movie. In the context of it, it feels very out of place.
Oh, it's 100% up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I kind of appreciate that it just gave me like a breath of, I don't want to say fresh air as if it's like a wonderful sex scene or anything, but totally it's the one thing that I'm like in this whole movie, like, and I won't even go full laugh. I'm just like, that's funny. And that's it.
And he also comments like, "Oh, I think the condom came off."
Yeah.
A little bit of
Right.
crying.
If he had dared her, that he's like, oh yeah, you're the worst I've ever had, like,
Oh god.
and then she continually
Oh,
tells,
God.
That's a
to,
different
like,
movie.
right, and she pounds him into oblivion. I actually like that idea better for a movie more. Yeah, how much does it cost to make a movie?
I don't know, Dylan, but you got one. I didn't even think about that.
The Novice 2.
Literally, she could be walking down the street getting a cup of coffee or something, and someone could be
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, that's the
Look at
worst
your
lay I've
hair.
ever had.
Yeah,
Right,
like-
yeah. Dude, she would circumcise a man by
She
like,
would.
yeah, like with those hands. Ugh.
Oh god.
Nathan.
What a question.
I had to give you that
Weird
visual before I give
question.
it.
It's the
It's
question.
like-
It's the question.
You have to
Really
abide by it.
bad, corny, comical, like making fun of just a frat bro.
That's
Kind
It makes her
stereotype.
relatable. You know, we all had those frat boy
Yeah.
ways.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm just gonna go with that one.
Yeah.
I mean,
Nice.
obviously, the other one is much more meaningful and a nicer
Yeah, it's
scene
like
and everything. It is.
Passion art house.
But that one was funny. It was funny that she did that.
But I needed a yuck in this drama film.
Yeah,
Give
there,
it to
there
us,
was
Jill.
so little yucks to be
Sure, the
had.
same one.
All right.
If I have to
Oh.
say
You know what?
She's
I'm
got
gonna
it.
be the contrarian, because did you guys notice whenever she was like climaxing during the lesbian scene,
Mhm.
that girl was on a boat in the water.
Yeah.
That's what it took.
She
Yeah.
needed to
In her
mentally be
head.
rowing her boat. Well, and she even alright, so fun little alright, I take it I might take my back answer for this because
Yeah.
they give us a little bit. That or she even mentions earlier, it's not about the size of the boat, it's the motion of the
Motion of
ocean.
the ocean.
She makes a fucking boat reference into that stuff and then later pays off with a boat
With a-
orgasm.
Yes.
You know what? I
exactly.
take it back. That one's better because it tied together something really
I'm telling you,
beautiful.
everything
I'm sticking with mine.
comes back.
Mhm.
Fat Thin is next.
Oh.
Jill, join us.
I mean, it didn't really feel fat, honestly.
Okay.
Even if I didn't enjoy all of it, it didn't feel long.
Mm-hmm.
It felt long. What I cut? I don't
The
know.
whole movie.
Her.
Like,
In that
I-
one scene.
Her.
ugh. All I gotta say is that's a fat movie.
It's a fat ass movie.
I'll have more to say, I guess, when we do scores.
For as thin as she is, and thinner by the end of the movie, this is a fat movie.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, I show my hand a little bit by saying I think this could have been a short film, and I think like they could have. Yeah, I mean, I just think like it's not even so much that it's like I'd cut it. I'd shrink it down. Like I think that all the beats could still be there. Maybe like 6 less rowing scenes or something like that, and you could still put all the intensity into like a smaller blurb, and yeah. So I just have a hard time validating the hour and a half because I felt it. And for an hour and a half for me to feel it, that's. Ugh.
Was it only that?
I think it
long?
was longer.
It was like hour 35 on the timer on that one. Maybe a little bit more, but not much.
Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and
Hour
go.
34, you're right. My bad.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter to me. It's still fat. 20 to 30 minutes needs to be cut off. It
Is
could
it
have.
just because you didn't like it, or do you think it was actually longer than it should have been?
No, it's longer than it should have been. It could have done what it needed to in a lot shorter time, especially because it didn't really have that kind of twist in it to like justify a longer movie.
They didn't need to put like believable build up in the middle to make a payoff nuts ending, right? This was just she quits the team.
Yeah, and that's it. So yeah, it's fat for that reason.
I'll agree. It's a little bit chubby. I think some of the parts where it could have been trimmed up, Dylan, like you said, was like you were supposed to sense the fact that she was getting crazier. She was going to greater lengths to hurt herself or to better herself, even in her mind. And I think that all of those parts made you feel. All of those parts made you feel grimy, made you feel worse about her situation, rowing itself as a sport. It could have easily been trimmed down in some of those spots, but you could also, I guess, argue that maybe some of those spots were necessary just to move her character in a worse position. So I'll say chubby, but Next is the scores. Let's go ahead and do ours first.
Okay.
Jill?
He has to go last. It's his movie.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, Jill. I
Yeah,
just keep
he's-
putting you on the spot.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
It always does.
You're at the head of the couch.
Right, it goes
So-
up.
I'm gonna say a 5.
Okay.
That's not low for me. That's the middle.
Okay.
It would be.
It's failing.
It would get a high score
I
because
would
it's like
never
very
give a 5.
artsy. It's like it put a lot of symbolism. It's cool.
Yeah.
But all those points get taken away because I did not care.
It didn't do the job of making you care by the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sparkly skeleton, but you don't like skeletons. 5 out of 10.
Butterflies, but you don't like butterflies. Hit me, boy.
I think I'm gonna land at a 3.
Ooh.
I was thinking of
Ouch.
going lower, but it's got interesting visuals in some ways. I think they did what they sought to do. I don't like what they decided to do. I wasn't there for it. I wasn't into it. I don't like that this character. She's so unlikable, and
She is.
you are in her head the whole time, and she never gets better. There's no redemption to her, really. That one light moment of levity, there's things that she does that seem out of character because they seem like a normal, nice thing to do. Like her going to the bar to meet that girl, I don't think she does that.
Yeah, because she's
Like-
probably studying, or she's probably
Right.
Yeah, like
studying
why
rowing.
would she do that? Was
Yeah.
there a reason for that? Really, in her like competitive
Yeah.
drive? I don't think so. And that's the only good thing she does, and the only points at which I think she's a good character or a good person if she were a person.
Mhm.
Even
So,
just an average
I don't-
person, I wouldn't even say good. She's just living a
Yeah,
typical
I mean,
college life.
just being a human
Yeah.
instead of being this mechanical perfection robot. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not there for it.
For sure.
I want to give this movie a 7,
Do it.
but I've got to put it at a
Damn.
6.5.
Ah.
Because for all, so I found very long lulls where I definitely thought it was like fat, and it drags for me. Nathan's points are very valid. She is not very likable. So it is, and hard or worse is relatable. I think for a lot of people would just be like, I don't understand the concept of that person, and I think it's a concept taken up to like 10 on purpose. But some of the like subtleties and things I actually learned to appreciate a little bit more. You know, we're talking about Nathan makes the point of, you know, kind of the tone changing in the middle of the movie where she's like talking with the coach and things like that. And I think technically in a typical indie fashion, it tends to be a very like, the more you rewatch it, if you're like, if you're going in from like a film fan perspective looking for other than the plot and stuff, you're like, that's really interesting. Or that's what I like. Or like, I like that she mentions motion of the ocean and then orgasms to a boat later. You know, some little small stuff like that where if you're paying attention, you're just like, okay, this movie gets a little better in some ways when you're paying attention, but other ways, being the main appeal, the core crux of it, fell flat for me. Horcrux, yeah. Yeah, so...
It's one of the Horcruxes.
Yeah, she's so stressed. She probably seems like she looks like Voldemort whenever Horcruxes are getting killed. Like, by the end of
If
the movie...
the movie
she-
had gone on 10 more minutes, there's no telling what she would look like.
Right. So,
At
yeah.
the end of the movie, it's just one of her Horcruxes got destroyed by
Yeah.
the lightning. And that's how she-
So, I might like it more if you start making that headcanon for me.
Created so many movies.
Yeah, I've got to land right at a 6.5 on it, though, because I think overall, just the feeling and how much I really like it, I don't like it enough to push it to a 7, even if I think technically it's at least a 7 for, like, the just everything. The non-vocal storytelling of it.
Yeah.
I'm landing at a weird score of 3.5 for this movie. For two main reasons, and I don't want to go any further on it. The first is I felt like I was waiting for the shoe to drop the whole movie.
Mhm.
I'm sitting there and I'm like, all right, something crazy's gonna happen. Why is this movie so long? She's crazy. She's got to do something else crazy. Like, yeah, she
I
cuts
definitely felt
herself.
the same.
Yeah, but like it's still like I'm waiting for her to like eat some fingers, kill that friend of
I've
hers.
spoiled you guys.
Like I'm just waiting
Yeah.
for something else to
I'm
happen.
so sorry.
And it never does. The second big reason is that I don't feel like that's how this situation would end. I don't see her quitting the team and doing something to help herself. I don't see her putting together the dots of like, I want to be better than this girl, but all the girls hate me. So it's literally impossible for me to be better than her. I don't think she puts all those together. I think she puts so much on herself that she would find some way to beat her. Like, she would consume the other 3 girls on her boat and take their power and row herself. I would believe that and like that more than what we got, because I don't think she quits the team and
You don't like Annihilation.
all that. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I guess that's kind of spoiled because Annihilation came out before this, but yeah, I don't like Annihilation either. Go ahead.
I do think that there will be times where you'll watch movies where you'll want something to happen or you'll expect the shoe to drop, and you get left a little bit high and dry, or you get left with this a little bit more realistic ending versus eating someone, which to be honest, she was so crazy. I was with you guys. I thought they were going to find bodies somewhere from her past.
Oh yeah.
Well, when they mentioned a girl had like broken her collarbone, it's like, oh, that's the
That's
start
the
of
first
it.
one. She didn't even know her. There's no telling what she's going to do to these guys. But, you know, I think that this movie, for what it is, Dylan, I look to you mostly for this because the psychological thriller aspect of it was insanity. I mean, this girl was doing everything that you guys probably see in your profession as far as red flags and bullshit, right?
It's like, Dylan, please. Dylan, please like this movie. I need help.
I'll meet you halfway on the
You sound
psychological
like me with
aspects.
Promare.
He didn't say anything about being a therapist.
Oh,
That's the real name.
God.
So, okay, well,
Yeah.
if you're going to set me
Our
up.
old segment.
Yeah, so, from a
This,
therapist.
this baby's a 7.
I'll say this, is that I think the psychology stays constant and consistent, which I think is an underrated thing. Like, not everybody goes through movie story growth in the period of time. She's very much the same person from start to finish.
Mark Zuckerberg was too in The Social Network.
Yeah, psychology of Mark Zuckerberg. I don't want to go into Bebop Robot. And the tension and like the self-harming and all that stuff does tie in. And like I consider that on my score without having to say it, because apparently when a therapist gives their expert opinion on their movie podcast review, everybody hates it until it's convenient for Mason, and then he wants it.
Listen, that .5 doesn't matter enough for me to listen to your whole spiel, but I was intrigued the most for you because of the ending and because of the...
Give us your score!
It's believable. I'll give it that.
Thank you.
Oh my God.
It's a 9. This movie, I do think, does exactly what it needs to do, even if you're not a big fan of rowing.
That's gross.
You're not a big fan of the character herself. I'll say it again. Mark Zuckerberg is not a likable character. We've watched plenty of movies. I've watched plenty of movies where the main character is not exactly a friend of yours. Like, you wouldn't want to hang out with him. Redeemable? No. But I do think that someone similar to this probably does exist. Not to that level. Also, you guys keep mentioning Raw. This movie has been on my watch list for 2 years because of this girl. Raw was a similar way.
You don't like her so much. She's good, but not like...
I sat next to her dad at a restaurant.
Hey, it feels emotional thing.
Obviously.
He's part of the
Anyways,
family.
I mean, I'll say she did a good job acting
Yeah.
this
Yeah,
character.
she did.
Oh,
yeah,
totally.
the screaming dialogue was like the best part. But it's a 9 for me. Now, as far as the critics and stuff like that...
I will put right now, this is a critics movie.
Oh, it
over
is.
General
It
public.
absolutely is. On Rotten Tomatoes, it's got a 96. It is brand new, though.
Oh my God. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So,
There's recency bias here.
81% from audience.
I'm surprised it gets that much of an audience, if I'm being
Yeah.
honest.
Well, and on this, too, IMDb, the weighted score for audience is a 6.7 out of 10, which
That
is
tracks more.
so average. We might as well just not even say IMDb anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But
Why are we even
Metacritic
talking
is
about IMDb
83 on
scores?
Metacritic, or Metascore, which is kind of critics as well. So,
Right.
liked by critics, pretty
That's
liked.
Lukewarm.
Yeah,
about-
lukewarm.
Kind
about
of
everything
lukewarm
else.
on general.
So now we spin.
Boop, 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 boop.
Jill.
It's time to
Dylan,
spin
you're
the
not
wheel.
you're not gonna
I-
spin,
Jill.
it, but you're gonna hold it.
Jill.
Oh yeah.
Bless you.
Spin it this way, though.
Give it to
No,
us.
no, no, no,
Spin
no,
it
no,
that
no.
way?
Spin
No.
it from your way.
No,
What? No.
No,
Let's go.
No, it's got to go this way. Yeah, she's still
Oh
pulled in.
my God.
There we
We're
go.
doing it.
She just spun it. It's a comic book movie. Let's see.
It's gotta be your pick now.
It's Whiplash.
Hell
Oh,
yeah!
yeah!
Double down!
I've been wanting to watch this for the longest time.
I have no idea what this is.
Oh boy.
It's
I'm not gonna say a fucking thing.
It's Mason's movie. It's about slavery, I think. I don't know. Anyway.
We do get to watch the trailer. If you
Oh yeah, we gotta pull the trailer.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry. Where's the keyboard? Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah. We're unprepared for this.
I'm a little buried over here.
So,
Yeah.
do you all think that this movie lined up with his trailer?
We didn't watch all the trailers.
Oh, but we did it during Annihilation. We watched the trailer.
Yeah.
During our Annihilation
Watch it.
review, we watched it.
Quit retroactively doing
You just set us up for failure, Brian.
I'm just screwing with the multiverse.
You watched Spider-Man one time and you want to mess up the whole
Does
multiverse.
track is what Bonnie said. I was like, oh, so it's like Black Swan of rowing, and it was.
Yeah, it was.
I do
I think that's why he
Apologize.
likes this movie so much, because what's the one sport in this movie?
Rowing.
What's the one sport in The Social Network?
Yeah,
Does
barely
Mason really
rowing.
like
Whoa.
rowing?
Hacking.
Technically rowing.
It's
but-
not hacking. Get out of here.
2005 hacking.
Get out of here.
Oh, this movie.
Oh, you definitely know what
Did
this
you
is.
actually not know?
Huh?
What's
No,
this one?
I
Oh.
forgot. Like I forgot this
Have you
was
seen it?
Whiplash. I was actually thinking about this one from this, but I haven't seen it. No. Speaking of unlikable, Miles.
Can you get the captions?
Yeah.
Like keep
Like
the
take them
captions?
off?
No, turn them off.
They're fine down there.
Alright. Oh, they're fine now. Yeah, they're in the black. I've been wanting to see this for a while.
You not ever seen it?
No, I was going to watch it, and you said hold off on it.
And your mom.
I actually thought about this movie because I've seen this trailer and people talk about this movie,
I
but
can't believe none of you guys have seen this one.
no, I haven't seen it.
You told me not to because you were going to pick it.
Well, but it was like
And I
3
don't like
years
Miles
ago.
Teller.
Or 4 years ago.
Were you rushing or were you dragging? I don't know. If you deliberately sabotage my band, I will fuck you like a pig. Oh my God. Are you one of those single-tiered people? You are a worthless pansy ass who is now weeping and slobbering all over my drum set like a 9-year-old girl.
Were you the one that sent me the Cora dub of him yelling?
No, you sent it to me.
Oh, yeah, and you, yeah. I love it.
Very accurate.
Beyond what's expected of
What is it? It's like I'm kissing right now.
I was about to say this is gonna be a hard movie to watch back to back.
Weird.
Nathan, if you didn't like the gashes on her hand, just wait.
What? What
So
is
it's just-
wrong with
It's the same movie but with Miles Teller and,
And drumming instead of
Yes.
rowing.
Yeah,
Good job.
This has got J.K. Simmons in it, though, and I
Yeah.
adore him.
I mean JK's great, but
Miles Teller brings it down.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I don't think Miles Teller's that bad.
Oh, fantastic,
What-
William Bibiani. I know that critic.
I would say that this movie is very like Oscars.
Yeah, it's
Oh.
Oscar bait.
Like Oscar bait.
It's not gonna freaking. It's not an Avengers movie. You know, it's nothing super in your face.
Yeah, it's not gonna go totally off of rails or anything.
Oh, yeah.
But it gets a lot of attention at the end of the year awards.
Reminds me of The Father I told you all about with the
what's
old
his
guy.
face?
Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah, Hopkins. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one I should put on there. That'd be it's
Another-
it's a rough one to watch though.
So I would say, I guess this is the first movie of the new year, probably. That I don't know how this
There's
works.
no telling.
Who knows? This is probably somewhere in
Nathan,
February.
the editor's shaking his head.
Anyway, so make sure to tune in to Whiplash next week. If you think this movie's about slavery, let us know in the comments below based on a name. Without having watched a trailer, we did watch a trailer. I don't think it's about slavery anymore.
Yeah.
100% sold though.
Yeah. In fact, actually, I didn't see
I
many
mean,
people.
trailers only show you 2 minutes of a movie.
That's
There's at least another hour. They can fit in all kinds
If that's
of
the
things.
twist,
The
I'm gonna.
twist is it's like those 2 minutes are the beginning of the film. And it's a completely different film.
We gotta make sure to do plugs. Jill.
No.
Okay.
Okay. So anyway, you can make sure to catch Jill whenever she pops up in here. You can also catch Jill in the comments below
I
sometimes.
think it might be on this podcast more than my own podcast.
Yeah. That's probably factually accurate at this point.
In that direction, anyway.
If you like the content we put out here today or appreciate that we watched this movie,
I appreciate it.
yeah, subscribe, thumbs up. If you don't like the movie, thumbs up anyway, because I mean we had to watch it too, and it seemed like a lot of us were on your page. But make sure to hit the bell.
Well,
Mason, can you? Thanks.
also, dislike button doesn't exist anymore.
Also, the
Is
dislike.
it actually gone?
I
Well,
thought-
like
I thought
it's
it was-
there, but you just can't see it.
Okay.
You're dating
So, I mean,
us.
honestly, go ahead and dislike.
Dislike it.
Oh, no.
It's fine.
Whatever.
No.
Well, no, but you won't. So if it's not satisfying for you, just hit the thumbs up and just put it in there. I would dislike it if I could, visibly, or I don't know, whatever. Anyway, we'll
Yeah,
see.
just comment dislike. Give
Yeah,
us
just
more
comment
comments.
dislike.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let
think
let
that's usually
YouTube
still
you know
good for
you
you
don't
guys.
appreciate their control power. They're a little trip right now. Down with the man. We'll see you next year. 2022, 2020. See you next week for Whiplash. Bye.
Bye. What if the mic wasn't on the whole time?
I'd love it. I'd love it.